Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Saturday. I am trying something different. I have StreamYard on, so I am trying to go live from here, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's see how this works. We'll see who jumps on and who can hear me. um oh Lord. Sorry, you guys. So hopefully it'll be on. I'm not going to be on long because I'm not used to seeing how it's going to go. I am doing this from my laptop, which is totally different from me. Hopefully by next week I will have ventured out and connected with my iPad, I'm sorry, my Mac Pro that can work with my iPhone, so I can use the phone and look directly and not trying to figure out how I'm supposed to be looking in there. But anyway, for those that don't know, I am Shanda Stringer. I have been in the business industry, I'm going to say, whew, off paper, probably about 24, 25 years. On paper, this year we're going into our 18th year if you count the coming year that's coming up. But anyway, I have been toiling with getting on because I know when I get on, people like try to attack what you're saying or trying to dispel that, you don't know what you're talking about and all those things. So sometimes I do get I do get a little agitated and don't say or speak on things that should be spoken on or share the information that I know. And so of course, this one setting is not going to gear you up to be the business guru, but it will help put some principles and practices into place. I do have the privilege and the honor to be a business consultant. I have two licenses for insurance, a 215 and a 220 in the state of Florida. That encompasses all different types of insurance, from health insurance to life insurance to fixed index annuities. It does not have that does not include a security license, retirement products, disability supplemental products, as well as homeowners insurance, workman's comp, automobile insurance, and the infamous business insurance, which is a laundry list of types of insurance. And then I have been a trained tax professional since 2006 when I first worked with United Way with the VITA program. And so you count that time, that's 17 years of doing taxes as well. I do have a disclaimer. I do not do corporate taxes. I do not do corporate taxes, but it's personal taxes, business taxes, nonprofit taxes. Without depreciating assets, I can do that for you. Back your taxes, help you to navigate and amend your taxes, and it all comes with fees. Now, let's be clear about that because I have businesses that I have to run and I have to eat. So, with that being said, I want to jump in real quickly to talk about LLCs and registrations because that's like the biggest thing. And whether you know it or not, there is a new law. The law actually was implemented in 2021, believe it or not. It was implemented in 2021. And so when you incorporate an LLC now, and this is not just for Florida, it's anywhere, federally, you do have to file with FINRA within the 90 days of your filing. Okay, that is a new law. So you file with the state, your all your paperwork and your EIN number with the IRS. After you file with the state, you do not get an EIN before you file with the state. Okay, let's be clear about that. And then getting your operating agreement, your corporate binder, and then you want to make sure within 90 days of filing your new LLC or corporation. The only information that I have seen, and it's changing seemingly, because it should be in motion by now, is your nonprofit organizations. It's not saying that you guys have to file, but if you have a S Corp, C Corp, LLC partnership, you are required to file that form. And I will go back and put in the comment section the name of that form and the link to that form. It doesn't say who's going to be authorized to file it yet. I do know there is not a fee to file the form, but if you get me or somebody else, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a fee because it's my time. But just put that out there. But the thing I want to mention about, starting a business, period, it is not so 1, 2, 3, here we go on some business and you're done. There is so many moving parts. And just like a baby, I am very careful when, people come to me about business, because business is just like driving a car, just like having a baby. It's important. And for the most part, I don't know people doing it just to be doing it. Most people doing it because they have a dream, they have a goal. Some people do it because they're evil. They want to do stupid stuff, and that's okay. You leave them where they are. But this segment is not for those individuals. It's for individuals that really want they've had a dream or have a dream or had a dream and really want it to come to bear, and you want the right information. So make sure that you get with the business consultant. Do I want you to call me? Of course I do. But if you don't, I'm hoping you get with someone that's going to be honest and open with you about business. It's not so simple. It's not overburdened either if that's something you really want to do. But just know it's just not push a button and you're on your way. There is a lot of legalities and requirements behind it. So much more. So much so I cannot tell you everything on here, but just know that if you're connected to me, we are starting a free business class. It's going to be 6 weeks. It's a 6 weeks business class starting in February. I will make sure I have the flyer and the link. You have to register. It's going to be on Zoom, so it's virtual. So you don't have to say, oh, I can't come to your office. I live here. I live there. It is for local businesses. We will interwoven some nonprofit in there, but it's really going to be for small for-profit businesses. And so just as a caveat, when you register your LLC, make sure that, like I said, you do, once you register with whatever state you're in, every state has a registration requirement. Sometimes people will say, well, I don't want to register a business. I want to do sole proprietorship. You can do that too. But for me, it negates I'm going to say sort of kind of, it negates the thought process of having a business, because then you yourself most often will take on the brunt of any liability. And I don't know anybody getting a business to have a liability, but if you do, then you carry that yourself for the most part. And let me say this, insurance companies are governed by states and not by the federal. So states may have different laws. I'm going to tell you, I'm not a lawyer. What I know. And I would strongly tell you, if you want to verify anything I'm saying, and you're not clear on something, to get you a lawyer, and hopefully they know. All right. Let me put that out there. And then, so once you start an LLC or any business for that matter, depending on what address you use, you have to make sure that that location is zoned and licensed for that particular business. People come to me all the time. They're going to start this business. They're going to start that business. And I'm like, well, certain business, you just can't just start. If you're renting, in order for you to start a business from a place that you're renting, you got to make sure that the owner of that place that you're renting is okay for you starting a business there. Most often leases will have in very fine print somewhere saying that you cannot run a business out of their location. And if you do get permission, there is a different affidavit, especially if you're in Palm Beach County. There is an affidavit that your landlord has to sign. Even if you own your home and have HOAs, you have to read their bylaws to see what their bylaws require to see if you're able to have a business registered to your home. So there is a lot of moving parts you need to consider. All right. And so then once you do that, you have to determine, hey, now that I got the business, how I'm going to protect the business. Protecting the business could be from the name, the brand, and then your business services or your business product that you provide. Whew, I got to take a deep breath, because I know so many people, and this is not throwing shade on anybody, because I don't have a judge or a jury to judge anybody on. I'm just talking, the things I'm talking about is things that I experience, the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? And so I cannot tell you the number of people that don't have proper insurance, whether it's general liability insurance, whether it's professional liability insurance, whether it's workman comp insurance. I mean, there are so many different levels of insurance you have to have as a business. And even if you are a business that are not required to carry workman's comp, the state of Florida now has a new law. Remember, insurance is governed by states, right? And so then you would file for workman's comp exemption. And if you're not clear on that, hit me up. I can tell you 99% of government contracts are going to want you to have, if you're not required to have workman's comp, they're going to want you to show that you file with the state workman's comp exemption. That's so important. And these are things that you're not going to find on Sunbiz, right? And so when I just cringe when people say, oh, just go to Sunbiz and register your LLC. It's so many more things to running a business than register on Sunbiz. So you have your registration, you have your employer identification, you have your corporate documents, you have your operating agreement, Then you have your business tax receipts, depending on where you're located, what it's zoned for in the state of Florida. I want to say this is 2024. So I think it was in 2022, October, they started that food businesses do not have to have a city and county license. They only have to be licensed by the state. But even with that, I don't want to start getting into people cooking out of their homes and things like that. I know it happens. Generally, you do that to start, and then you eventually branch out and get a food truck or a standalone eatery or whatever, or a drive-through takeout, however you do it. Those are things that are progressive. And once again, it's a laundry list of things that you need to do. And I don't want to try to fit everything in one segment. I will be doing more business informational settings. I don't know what that will look like outside of what I already do, but I'm going to be more intentional this year. I'm not going to let my own self silence my voice, because I've had some business failures. And so I've allowed the devil to trick my mind to make me think that the information I know is not relevant. And as a matter of fact, it's more relevant now than ever. And so I'm going to be more intentional about that going forward. So if you're not following me on Facebook, you're not following me on Instagram, you're not following me on YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel, and it's titled I Am Chandra Stringer. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Is I Am Chandra Stringer as well, and then on Facebook is Chandra Stringer. And I do have other business pages, but that's really where I'm going to be focusing my efforts. All right, so just know then it's business tax receipt, depending on the address of the location. It could be the city and the county business tax receipt, and then depending on the type of business, it could be more state requirements as well. And once again, that class that we're going to do for 6 weeks, and then my segments I'll be doing individual, will dive more into that. But please, if you're in doubt about a checklist for business, hit me up. I'll email that to you. I don't do email spams. I'm learning to do email marketing, so I sure don't have time to do email spam. So if you send me an inbox message and say, hey, can you send me that checklist? I'll send it to you. You don't have to worry about me spamming you, because I'm not. If you want, I'll send you information or activities that's happening and going on. I don't know why this thing is getting dark. That's why I don't like laptops. But just know that I don't do email spam. So that's your LLC. When it comes to LLC and you're going to be making a lot of money, which gets over into your taxes, you do have to file a Form 2553. A Form 2553 basically requires you to file that with the IRS. And what you will tell the IRS, hey, I'm an LLC, but I want to be taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp. And then you got to wait on the notifications from the IRS. And then going forward, you no longer operate like an LLC. You operate as a S Corp, in which you become an employee of your company. You do separate tax returns. You have quarterly filings and all of those things. Once again, that's a little bit more detailed, and make sure that you connect with the right business consultant, the right tax accountant, the right bookkeeper that will know how to do that. And then, of course, if you were in business during COVID, you know, having some form of a commercial accounting system, a payroll system, was well worth the money, because a lot of the information, the paperwork and things, that a lot of the monies that were available needed those things right away. And so it was vitally important that you had that checklist. Where I'm sitting right now is at the Inspiration Station, and I'm going to talk about profitability and all those things. Like I said, I'm really going to be more intentional this year. We opened this space up November of 2019. COVID happened March of 2020. And so we have never been self-sufficient. Let's just be honest. We've never been self-sufficient. Right now, we do have co-tenants with us. Thank God that happened. But during that time, we were a nucleus for the community. I cannot tell you the number of hours I stayed up making sure businesses were applying for funds that were available, making sure business had business tax receipts, and all of the things that many businesses had been in business for years and had even never heard of anything like that. And so it was vitally important that we were present. Y'all, this light is gonna drive me crazy. Y'all bear with me, please. It's gonna drive me crazy, but I'm hoping the next time around this is better. But and so it's bigger than just having a business registered with your local state department. I do have customers in other states. I just picked up a nonprofit customer in Texas, and even then, somebody helped her. I think she used one of those companies offline. I'm not calling no name, and she had no clue of all the things she needed to do. And I'm thinking, like, this is why you need a business consultant, where you really they can help you, and you're not just checking boxes, because those entities, they're by numbers, and I'm not discounting nobody business model, business practices, but I'm saying it's just like anything else. When you get a car, you learn, well, before you get a car, you get a driver's license, right? That means you study, you know the roads, well, most part, the laws of the land. And so a lot of times people don't do that when it comes to business. They are invest in everything else. They spend more time on their cell phone than they will learning about business. And so I'm strongly going to encourage you for that. And then before we leave the business and get over into insurance and taxes, I want to just talk about nonprofit. Nonprofit is my niche. If you count church, I've been in nonprofit practically all my life. But I do have a master's degree in it, and I've been doing that work, oh gosh, just as long as I've been doing anything else, 25 years, because actually that's how I started my consulting business, because I was helping people in the nonprofit arena, and I got tired of them calling and saying, hey, so-and-so said you can help me. And I'm thinking, like, for 4 years, I was just helping people. And I'm like, girl, you can't keep doing this. You need to turn this into a business. And so it took me another little minute to get myself together, because people didn't want to pay. And I was like, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And I thought about it. Yes, you are cut out for it. You've been doing it for 8 years now. So let's get pen to paper to this thing and become formal. And I'm so grateful for all the customers that I've been able to help and work with and will be working with. And, like I said earlier, I've had some bloopers and blunders in my business this year, my personal life. And I had to really sit down and come to grips with myself and tell myself, Chandra, when a person loses the Super Bowl, they don't stop playing football. And just because you've had some failures and things had to be restructured and rewired, it does not make you irrelevant. You just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and keep going. Go back to your roots, sharpen your tools, and get back in the game and do what you know how to do. And that's be a good business consultant, be an honest insurance professional, and an honest and tax preparer. And you work the work and use the gift, the skills, and the talents and the abilities that God has given you to make a difference in the earth. All right. And so so nonprofit, there are, there's a lot. There's a lot I can say about nonprofit. And I would say this to you: if you have a nonprofit and we have not worked together, we have worked together, and you left or, said you didn't need my services, I would strongly encourage you to schedule an appointment. I am doing business follow-ups for a very affordable price for us to look at your nonprofit altogether, to make sure that you have all your annual compliances in place, making sure that you have your program structured, that you can get funding, creating a fund development plan where you can actually look at how you can secure funding. And that's from any aspect. You guys, I'm just of the opinion, if you put your all into something, then it should deliver results. It doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. I'm just saying that you got to start somewhere, and then you got to be willing to put in the work for it. I do know that. And I'll put my life on it. I don't care what somebody say or don't say. And, just so you'll know, the state of Florida, our annual report filing is January to April the 30th. They say January to May 1st. I always say to April 30th, because if their system shuts down or something goes crazy, you don't want to experience that $400 fine. All right. Whether right now for nonprofits, they don't fine you, not that I've seen, but for a profit company, if you miss that deadline, baby, you got to pay them $400. And so it's really important that you know what your annual filing requirements are. As a nonprofit, you should have your annual filing requirements just like any other business. Your solicitation license is determined by your expiration date. Everybody have a different expiration date when it comes to solicitation license, unless you were filed on the same day as another entity. But it's not a blanket date like your annual reporting. All right. You should have a solicitation license. If you are in any state, most states have some form of a registration, whether it's with the Attorney General. We have the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. If you are not a church or a government entity and you are soliciting funds as a charitable organization, by law, by statute, you are required to have a solicitation license. Now, I just met someone the other day and they were like, oh, I didn't have, I'm like, oh my. and I'm not talking about people that just started business. I'm talking about people been in business for a long time. Once again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not trying to say, leave so-and-so, come to me. I'm just saying that people get in business and they have no clue to all of the requirements that is that's out there. And these are laws that they're breaking every day and they don't even know they're breaking them, and so it really behooves you to do your due diligence, and connect with people that know what they're doing and just not doing it because you don't want to pay an extra $100 or $150. You probably end up paying more than that if you get fined or get caught. And that's a whole nother conversation. So as nonprofits, you have your annual report, you have your solicitation license, and then you have your tax return. And that is determined about your calendar year. 99% of my customers, I put them on their fiscal year goes according to the calendar year, meaning January to December 31st. And that means the 15th day of the 5th month, which is May 15th, you need to file some form of a tax return. That is contingent upon how much money and in-kind donations that you acquire. It's not just money, because if I shared this when I was doing training, the nonprofit that I oversee and the ones before then, our in-kind donations would be anywhere upward to $200,000, but then we may get $100,000 or $150,000 in cash, or sometimes $50,000 or $75,000 in cash. So that meant we still had to file a tax return. The government, I think it was 2011, 2012. If you do not file some form of a tax return as a nonprofit organization for 3 consecutive years, they will revoke you, meaning you no longer will be recognized as a 501c3. Now, I need to put a pin there, and I'm hurrying because I don't want to be on too long. I've been on for 20 minutes. Sometimes people get their nonprofit filing incorrect. Depending on who do it, they try to do it. They'll file as a private foundation, which now you consider a 501c-PF, a 501c3, but you're a private foundation rather than a public charity, which requires totally different tax return, totally different filing requirements, and totally different operation. And once again, if you don't know the ins and outs and know how to fill out that form, you can get in some trouble that you're not willing to pay for later on. I'm just saying. So just be on the lookout for that. And then your other annual filing requirements is going to be your charitable letters that you send out when people have donated to you. And then now, in Palm Beach County, I can't talk about other counties. In Palm Beach County, nonprofits, once you register for your business tax receipt, unless you move, then they just basically reestablish your business tax receipt every year, and there is not anything else you need to file. You are required to have insurance. You are required to have board of directors insurance. You are required to have professional liability insurance, depending on what type of insurance, and definitely general liability insurance if you have a commercial setting. All right, that's vitally important. And before I forget, property taxes. The Palm Beach County, and I think all municipalities, all counties have them. By I think it's April the 1st. If you have equipment or any property, how much ever it is you do. I'm doing this because I'm trying to keep the lighting on, y'all. You do have to file an exemption form. If it's under $25,000, you don't owe any taxes on it, but you still have to file the form by April 1st. And if it's over $25,000, they determine what that tax assessment is. So if you have equipment and all of those things are taxable if it's over $25,000. Okay. Now that is a lot in a very short time. I haven't even started talking about insurance that much and taxes, but let me see if I can squeeze this in about 7 minutes so I can be off in 30 minutes. I mean, I won't hold you longer than 30 minutes. So when it comes to insurance, I did interwoven insurance in there, but you want to make sure that you're protected. If you are not required to have workman's comp, meaning you have more than 4 people working for you, whether it's construction or non-construction, you want to file a workman's comp exemption. And the reason why is you may have an opportunity to apply for a government grant or whatever, and you don't want to wait to the last minute and something comes up and you don't have that, and then they deem your application for a particular contract or RFP because you don't have it. So it's easy to do. You go online if you're not used to it. It's not something you have to do it's every 2 years, and you don't pay for it unless you're paying somebody to do it for you. And then they will give you an exemption certificate, and then that way you can have your insurance carrier to add it to the certificate of insurance that you are exempt, and you provide a copy of that. That's very important. And then if you're in a commercial setting, you need commercial general liability insurance. Depending on your level of services or product, you need professional liability insurance, disability insurance. I would say if you have an insurance carrier, to sit down with them, just like you do your annual checkups with your physical body, do your financial checkups with your insurance carrier. Then you want to, if you're working, and a lot of places nowadays do not do 401ks or retirement. So you may want to get with your insurance carrier, depending on what kind of insurance license they have, to set up a retirement plan. Or if you're not maxed out at your company and there's a product that you may have that you can, reduce your taxable liability but earn more money outside of your company, then you can do that as well. So get yourself connected to the right insurance carrier. Even though I'm an insurance broker, I got to give a shout out to my girl, Veronica Mitchell with State Farm Insurance. I sell car insurance, but guess what? My carriers, because I don't do a lot of business, they were more money than State Farm. And so I love her. I love her office. I love the work that she's doing in the community. And she's just a good colleague. And I'm learning to be colleagues with people, where people can be collaborative colleagues. I'm learning to do that. You can't say it about everybody, and I'm not going to get into a rabbit trail with that. And then last thing, let's talk about taxes. Before I forget, I'm sorry. Okay, so well, it's part of taxes. So if you are a for-profit company and you sell tangible products or services, according to the Florida Department of Revenue, all right, your resale tax certificate should be in your portal. So go on, make sure you download your new resale tax certificate, right? And then if you're not operating, and this is what I tell members that have left the Inspiration Station. First, we're grateful for their membership, but if you leave, you need to let the state know that you're gone so they'll know your new address. You can email them, or when you do your annual report. You also need to let the city and the county know, because we're getting bills from people that have left our membership portal 2-3 years ago. And I know I tell people that, but guess what? That's not my responsibility, because if you have left or your business have stopped being serviced, that's not my responsibility. I had the city of West Palm to come out, and we had to sit for like an hour. We had to go over this longer list of people that first signed up, but hadn't been here in 1, 2, 3 years. And so I strongly recommend, when you cease from being a member of a business center or a business location, or cease operation, tell the state, tell the city, tell the county, and tell the state again, because there are people that are not doing business, and the Department of Revenue penalize you every month or every quarter that you're supposed to file taxes, and you don't file them. Me, myself, I've been filing zeros all year, and that one particular resale tax certificate, I'm actually going to call them Monday and cancel it, because I'm not doing that type of retail sales anymore, and I do have to open up a new one for my books and stuff. So you really, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you really have to know business inside and out, because there are so many moving parts, and out of ignorance, you end up losing trying to save. Oh, she's too high. Oh, she wants money. I just have a question. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. And I'm not being funny. I'm not. I can sit at my desk and answer questions all day long and make not one penny. I can. And I had to tell myself, Chandra, you're no different than a lawyer or a doctor or anybody else that provides services. Don't nobody go to the lawyer's office and sit there and just ask questions without paying. They may give you a 20-minute, 30-minute, sometimes an hour consultation for free. But I can't even do that, because I would never get any work done. But nobody nowhere. You don't go to the doctor's office, you don't go anywhere. And so I had to stop being agitated and aggravated and just tell people, hey, this is my fee. And if they're not willing to pay to sit down and come and talk with me and get all the information they need for their business, their financial life, and their tax life to be successful, then it's okay. Release them, let them go, but don't hold on to that. But don't allow yourself to go into a hole trying to help people, because I've done it for so many years. And I'm not blaming nobody. I'm just saying these are the things I've had to learn. It seemed like eternity to learn them. But now that I know them, I'm going to operate gracefully in them. All right. So when it comes to taxes, you know, everybody start doing taxes. Everybody is a tax guru. And I let them, because there are some things I don't know that they know. But I also know a lot of people do taxes falsely. You know, everybody want to get money back. Let me tell you something, and I'm hurrying. When somebody do your taxes and you sign, whether they lied or not, you're signing that you agree what they put on that paper. And when the IRS, not if the IRS, it's going to be when the IRS come for you. Hello. They're going to come looking for you. Now, they may, depending on how severe and how negligent that particular tax preparer was, if they can find them, they may pursue criminal charges against them. But most often, now people are getting smart. They get your email address, and then they create these fictitious tax returns with fictitious email addresses. And you don't even know, at the bottom, they say self-prepare. And then, so then you don't even have a leg to stand on, because your tax return says self-prepare. Then if you do use somebody that have an EFIN number and a PTN number, they just bold and gonna do evil, and you know that you're not supposed to get that kind of money back. The IRS is gonna look at you sideways. And so if you need a tax organizer, whether it's for individual, for LLC or S Corp, I have those accessible. I'll email it to you for free, whether you use my services or not. I hope you do. But I just want to sleep at night. I want to do things the right way. I fumbled some things in my business, and it came to, nothing illegal that I did, but just not paying attention and, keep throwing stuff in the air and trying to be successful and trying to make things work, and really just had to come to a consensus that sometimes endings are necessary, right? And so because of that, I just operate from a different space. And now my next segment is going to be on business credit, because I get so many conversations, and then you got to follow me to know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance to do it this week, but definitely the weekend I'm gonna be talking about business credit. But let me tell you this one little thing, and I'm ending here. If you have a cash flow issue, and this is one of the things that I fumbled. If you have a cash flow issue, you don't need more credit cards. Yes, credit does help you to handle cash flow, but getting into more debt won't help you. If anything, it's going to hinder you. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm going to share a little bit more about that later. The best thing you could do, and I do have some sample business plans. The best thing you can do is create yourself a business plan, so you can sort of kind of have on paper some of the things you need to be thinking about when it comes to business. And it doesn't matter whether you have been in business for 50 years or for 5 minutes. You need some type of a roadmap so you don't fail. And I was listening to Eric Thomas, and I'm going to pray and I'm going to be done. I was listening to Eric Thomas today, and he said it costs more. He said, I'm not counting the cost to go forward, because going back is going to be too expensive. And that thing blessed my whole life. And I said to myself, Chandra, you've experienced some things, and you're going to experience more things. But the things you do know, you can help somebody else. And so whether people listen to you now or ignore you, do the part that God has called you to do. And I'm going to strongly encourage you that if God has given you a business idea and you've been in business, to bear down and to take inventory of what's working, what's not working. What are some of the things you may not know that you need to pay some money to learn? Hello. Or even look for some free things. Our business class is going to be free. But if you meet with me individually, it will cost you. But just know that if you really want something to grow, you're going to invest in it. We invest in a lot of things, but when it comes to certain things, we shy away from. And so then my question is that something that's a priority to you? Is that something that you really want to grow? Is that something you're really serious about? That's not a ding. It's not throwing shade. It's an honest question. It really is an honest question. And for those businesses, LLCs, S Corp, C Corps, partnerships that were already incorporated before 2024, we have until 2025 to file that same paperwork. So some things I'm going to follow up on. I'm going to follow up on the link where you can find out about, and I forgot the name of the thing, the form you got to file. It's an act. It was a law that was put in place. You have until 2025 to do it. But if you file anything new, you have 90 days to file with FINRA for that. And then I'll put the link for the class that's going to be starting in February. I want to say thank you for those that, whether you're watching me through Instagram, whether you're watching me through YouTube, whether you're watching me through Facebook. This is my first time trying all three together by myself. So hopefully it'll be on those platforms. I'll check later. And y'all bear with me as I learn this. You know, people say, Sharon, you have so much content. You need to be monetizing it. So I'm trying to learn how to monetize without losing my momentum, right? Because I want to be true, honest, and operate in integrity. What I do, what I say, and the things that I've learned on this short time being in business, these last 18 years on paper, 25 years actually doing the work. And then if you count church, probably a good 40 years. But I just want to pray a prayer of faith that what I've said was a blessing to your life. And so, Father, we thank you. God, we thank you now for just this platform. God, I pray for the technology that it came over well, that people will be able to see it on YouTube and as well as Instagram, as well as Facebook. And if not, hopefully the next time I will get it together. I pray that the words were beneficial to those that were listening now or will listen later. I pray that nothing was said in a condescending way. I pray that my experiences and my shortfalls and my growth in knowledge and wisdom will be a benefit to others so they can grow, start, or sustain their businesses. We give all these gifts and talents and skills back to you because we're just stewards. We're just stewards of what you've entrusted us with. And we praise you and we honor you today. Let this word, let this time of the people that have been on here be a blessing to their life, and that I can continue the journey that you called me to without fear, without resentment, without reluctancy. But I would do it boldly with grace. In your son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Amen and amen. Thank you for rocking with me. Hopefully it wasn't too long. And hopefully it'll be on these stations that I selected today. Y'all be blessed. Until next time, I'll see you soon.